Well, that sucked, having to restart. Good morning, y'all. Okay. I had to restart because it did one of those duel things, where you're like dueling somebody, and I'm not trying to be dueling anybody right now. Send out some invites real quick. Hopefully, as Thinker Live eventually ends, because she's still going right now, maybe some of the people from Thinkers Live will come on over here. Thank you for coming back, y'all. Sorry about that. Did you guys see, it went into a duel thing? I hate that. I don't know how I stopped that from happening. It just does it every once in a while. It's random. Why can't I do my little boxes? I want the guest boxes up. I don't know why they're not showing. Well, we'll get this shared out. If you guys can keep tapping the screen, that would be great. If you are just joining in and you would like to come up and hang out with me, I would love it. I'd like to get a panel going. I want to talk about some of the great things that I see going on in the community and share some stories about the good that is happening in this community. I want that, but I don't want that. Good morning, Joel. I want it to be... I'm trying to make it so, you can see the thing, but also I have guest boxes, like the 8 guest boxes. I never can get that to work.
I'm thinking that's the Thinker setup. That's...
Yeah.
For some reason, I think of that as the Thinker setup now.
Okay, I think I've got it now.
No, that's not
Hang on. I mean, but once I do this, now we got it.
There we go.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know why I couldn't do it. All right.
It's perfect. It's perfect now.
It is perfect. How are you doing this morning, Joel?
I'm pretty good. Just, I'm in between some night shifts, so I'm a little bit groggy, but, just chilling out, and then I'm going to have a nap. But doing well. I was just in... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just in African Atheist Live, and they have a Scientologist in there, which, rare to get a Scientologist in the wild.
What was his name? Do you remember? Because I met one earlier this week, I think.
Damascus.
Yep.
Fried.
That's the one. But he's also he's also not a Scientologist, okay? Just so you know, he's also kind of a Christian and kind of a something else too. I can't remember what else, but
he's a hybrid.
He is a hybrid, and he's also contrarian.
He's just there to be a negative Nancy.
Yeah, like this one time, this person was just spewing the most ridiculous stuff. I forget whose live they were in, okay? It might have even been... It wasn't Thinker's Live, but I think Thinker was in there or something. Anyway, they were spewing the most ridiculous stuff. And in the chat, well, he was on the panel, but in the chat, he's saying, yeah, you're right. Good job to the guy and stuff. And the stuff was like just insane, whatever the guy was saying. And the guy finally left. And we were like, why were you saying that to him? Like, so you agree? You agree with all that craziness? And he said, no, I just thought if we agreed with him, he might like leave sooner.
Oh, that's not...
That's not how that works.
That's encouraging, Mascus. That's not how that goes.
Yeah.
They usually like to stick around more. People want to be heard. But they were doing Scientology talk. But this guy came up. Oh, what was his name? Snapshot. I don't know if you know Snapshot, but he's an ex-JW.
No, I don't know him.
Yeah, and he was just, trying to ask him questions, but they had already kind of gone through everything with this guy. But anyway, Snapshot was like, hey, listen, if you ever need to talk, I've dropped you a follow, send me a DM, just in a very kind way, just like, hey, if you want to work through this stuff, just hit me up. So I thought that was a nice thing that's happened in our community this week.
It really is. And Mascus is not a part of the Church of Scientology. He is an independent Scientologist. Like,
yeah, there's a separate church, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't. He does recognize that there's a lot of problems within the church itself, and so he kind of is more independent. That's
crazy that Scientology has a new denomination already. You know what I mean? Like it's already starting.
It really is. I just left Thinkers Live, and it was like really like they were they're probably going to be a little while longer too, because they were really just doing some internal healing is the way I would put it. It was really nice to see. When I came in, it seemed to.
So go ahead.
You go ahead. You were in there too for a little bit this morning. They were doing some talk about what I gathered, because I woke up and came in there, was it seemed like they were talking about raising up children and not, spanking them and stuff like that, and how many people were spanked as children, and they'll say things like, but I turned out okay. But are you really okay? There's obviously sometimes trauma that is not dealt with because you think you're okay, but you're not. And anyway, so they started talking about men and just raising up our boys to, to be softer. Like a lot of times people will one person was saying, my son was walking around, he had a Dora the Explorer book in his hand, and it happened to be purple, and people were like, you're letting your son walk around with that Dora the Explorer book and it's purple, he's gonna grow up to be soft and everything. And she's like, my son's gonna grow up to read. That's what he's gonna grow up to do. He has a book in his hand. Who cares what color it is? He enjoys reading. That's why the book is in his hand. And the men were just coming in saying, yeah, we just want that kind of love and support. And I don't know, it was just really nice hearing people talk about raising young men to be softer, kinder, not worry about so much not being able to show their emotions. Too many times we're like, don't show your emotions, don't cry, that's not manly. And to see people raising their young men up to be able to show their emotions, to be proud of who they are, no matter who they are, to not worry about whether they're wearing pink or purple. I don't know. It was really nice. And then Cash got up there and he shared a little bit. And it was just a morning of just sharing and healing. And that was really beautiful.
Yeah, I did stop in for a second on that. And I was there early, I was there last night or this morning at 3:30 because I was doing work and stuff. But yeah, I did see some of that, and it's nice when things kind of turn into that, right? Like it's always the debates and this and that all night long, and then in the I think for Thinker the wee hours, but for us it's like, well, it's noon over here, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit more, that part of deconstructing that we all need, the healing part of it. I always find that weird, the idea that, I turned out okay, or it toughened me up or whatever. And, my grandpa was a soldier in World War II and he turned out, it's like, your grandpa probably had PTSD.
Right.
Like these aren't good things. Yeah. This is why he couldn't hug you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, these are not good things.
Exactly.
They don't always make us stronger, like, is that what you wish on everyone? To be a child soldier so that they can be so fucking strong? Like, it's so ridiculous. It's like, but I've had the conversation with my parents because I was spanked a few times, and I don't feel as though I was properly abused or anything like that, but I was spanked. And so I, at home one time I was like, and I think this was even before I was really deconstructing. I was like, so it doesn't coincide with that necessarily, but I was just like, well, spanking's violence, right? And they were like, no, it's not violent. I go, well, it is violence, right? Like, you got to see it as that, right? And we had a really long back and forth. Nothing too intense, right? Like, I wasn't saying you guys, did violence against me in a horrible way type of thing. I understood where they got their motivations, but yeah, they just couldn't see it. And what was the saddest part is that my niece was there, and she doesn't have any kids. She's in her early 20s at the time, I guess. But she was defending spanking. Like, it was great. Like, sometimes you need to spank. I'm like, no, no, we got to stop this. Go read some studies, It is a form of abuse, 100%. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm
no, you're not rambling at all. When I was a little girl, this is kind of funny. Oh, thank you, Casey. I'm trying to turn my headphones on, so I'm sorry. Oh, I guess that was for Joel, but thank you, Casey, for Joel.
Thank you, Casey, for me.
Yeah, I can't get my headphones to do what I want them to do this morning. Okay, anyway, when I was a little girl in first grade, no, it was like second or third grade, we were talking about what is love. Oh, thank you, Casey. Then I thought there was one for me. Then I saw Joel, and I got confused because I'm easily confused. We were talking about what is love in class. I said, love is when my mom spanks me because she is doing it so that I, grow up to be a good person or whatever. And my teacher was like, that's not love, And
sorry, Crystal, that was answer number 1 for you?
Yeah.
What the, like, hug, no, ice cream, no. Love is when my mom spanks me. What the? You were just trying to be creative. You're like, the other kids got ice cream. You were like, well, I'm going to do something a little bit unconventional. Then she hits me against my will.
I really said this. I'm so ridiculous.
The bear bum. Anyway, it was a bear bum spank.
Yep, it was. Give me 1 second. Hi, Lotus. Can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
I'm in my 30s.
Okay, and are you part of the deconstruction community?
Yep.
All right, great. Anyway, so yeah, I told her that, and then I went home and told my mom, and of course my mom was so proud of me.
Oh my goodness, she was proud.
The teacher wasn't. The teacher was like, "That is not love at all. What the
Oh my
hell are you
goodness.
talking about?"
Well, that's a
But
good teacher.
yeah, she actually was a good teacher. She was a family friend for many years, but I didn't get it at the time. I was like, of course, that's the way. That's one of the ways my parents show me love is, I don't know. I was a weird little kid, Joel. I was a weird little
Well,
kid.
and now you're a weird woman, so it worked out.
Right,
But that's
right.
why
It
we
did
love
work
you.
out. But
Crystal,
I'm
I
good.
hate to. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you leaving me?
No,
Okay.
I was gonna. Before there's too many people in here, community is spelt wrong on your prompt here.
Oh, it is.
Community.
I told you guys, sometimes I type like I'm drunk. I don't know what it is. I shouldn't do things late at night for sure because, like, my
What's
brain is not
something?
there.
What's something that I disagree in community?
I'm not even going to change it. I'm just going to leave it
Why
with that.
bother? Yeah.
Why bother at this point? I posted it everywhere with that spelling.
I
So
never
we're
noticed
just.
until
Don't know what
now.
it means anyway, so we all know what it means anyway, so.
Yeah, I think most of
Thank
it you barely need to read it because it's a common word. But I was just like, wait a second.
I saw Justin one time do a live not very long ago where he had a misspelling and he had it up all night. So if Justin can do it, I can do it.
I had to. I don't want to brag, but I had to tell Thinker she put an apostrophe on the word "it's" when it wasn't
Oh,
supposed to be there, and so she kept that up for 2 nights, and then eventually changed it. But yeah, no, who cares?
okay. All right.
We all
I'm
get it.
I'm
We all get
I'm in good company then with
Yeah.
all that. Okay. All right. Well, I wanted while Tracy is up here because I don't know how long she'll be up here. Thank you so much, Schley. If you guys want to come up, please request up because I'd love to fill the panel. I just want to talk about feel good things, and there's been so much good going on in the community this week. One of the things that I think is really, really good in the community, we have a lot of debates. There's just a lot of arguing with believers. There's just a lot of that going on in the community. And while we, enjoy it, while it also brings information to people and stuff like that, sometimes it can be draining. You know what I mean? Like listening to the same excuse for why slavery was a thing in the Bible can just be like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't take it. I don't want to hear this again, and so and Tracy has started lives where she has people come up and teach her how to do things. And it's such a pleasant break from all of this. And I just had so much fun the other night hanging out with Tracy and Kelly and Schley and I don't know, like other people were there and stuff. And I didn't get to see the how to portion of it, but I did see when Joel was telling her how to make clay one time. And if you guys aren't following Tracy and you need a break sometimes from all the deconstruction and arguing and fussing and stuff, you guys have to follow Tracy. Tracy, I love your lives.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I am speechless.
I
Honestly,
really do.
It does sound like actually, yeah, I'm gonna follow you if that's the case, because sometimes even I need a break from the deconstructing, because it's like, oh my gosh.
we do talk deconstruction some for sure, but it's really nice to do it in an environment that's potentially hostile. I even kind of like the idea, maybe this is like too idealistic of me, but I really like the idea that maybe one of these regular Christians is going to come in and just teach me something normal, because I think I still have things to learn from them, even if I want to, sarcastically pat them on the head every time they talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I honestly, a lot of the teach me something, a lot of the credit for that continuing goes to Joel, because Winter was so good and so thorough that I'm like, People just need to teach me how to do things. This is incredible.
And I figured out what I'm going to come teach you the next time you're live. I was a reseller, and I'm going to teach you how to find out how much something is worth. Like, let's say you want to sell it, or you want to just know the value of something you own. I'm going to teach you how to do that.
That's incredible.
Hi, Dr. Extrapolate. If anybody wants to come up, the guest box is open. This is very much an open forum this morning. I wanted to tell a few stories, so I'm going to start with one, and then I'll go to each of you, and if you have any other stories you want to share, please feel free. So I started thinking about this when a particular event happened on Thinkers Live earlier in the week. I thought, my God, there's so many good things that happen in this community, and we should share those good things, because we're not always in the same lives together. And sometimes it feels like maybe all we're doing is fighting or what have you, you know? And, but that's not all we're doing. It's not all we're doing at all. But Thinker has a sub-only live that she does on Saturday nights. And last Saturday night, she had a sub-only live, and a person came up. And when I tell these stories, I'm going to keep everybody's name pretty much out of it, except for hosts and stuff like that. One, because I don't remember, and two, the ones I do remember, it's you know, it's neither here nor there. Like, it's their personal business, right? And this woman came up, and it was like Lord Safer, myself, Thinker, Lala, Rocksteady, and I don't remember who else was there. And she said, I need help. I'm divorced, and I have a daughter, and my daughter, and my ex is, we were not believers when we were together, but since we have divorced or whatever, he has a girlfriend who is, and now he goes to church, and he is wanting my daughter to be baptized by her next birthday, which is in like a month. And I don't know how I feel about these things, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to, like, she is now scared of hell. And now, you know, and I'm worried about her. And I also don't want her to feel like, if she, you know, like, I don't want to start a big thing and be like, you know, no, you can't get baptized. And then she feels like she disappointed her father and stuff. And, you know, in a sense, I was there not when my son was young, because when my son was young, I was a Christian. But once he left and went off to college, he became an atheist while I was still a Christian. And his father was a Catholic. I specify Catholic. Obviously, we know that's Christian too, but it was a different kind of Christian than I was, for sure. And he was able to tell me that he was atheist, but he let me know very clearly, I cannot tell my dad that. Like, do not, you know, share this with him. He will not be happy. And it always made me sad that he couldn't tell his dad who he was. You know what I mean? Whoever that is, I don't care what it is. If you're atheist, if you no anything you have to hide from a parent, it just makes me sad for people. Like, I don't know. I just think you should be able to tell your parents anything, you know? And so anyway, I understood that my son felt the same way her daughter felt, that if my father knows this, then he might not love me the same. And so I got that. But the daughter definitely can't just go, no, I don't want to be baptized. But one of the things that Thinker said that I just thought was really wise was, you know, why don't you start by sharing with her, like, you know, what hell really is and how it's not really in the Bible, to help, relieve her of her fears of hell. And that really helped the mom a lot. And then they talked about different aspects of maybe sitting down and doing the Bible studies with the daughter, so that when she has questions, the mom can answer them instead of her just going blindly into a religion. Not saying don't go to church with your dad's girlfriend and don't learn and everything, but instead, let me teach you some of the things about this book as you're going through it. And she was like, that is a really good idea, And I did share with her that because the baptism is probably going to happen, like you're not going to want to start a big family fight over this or whatever. I personally would speak, the child has, does not like to be touched, does not like water in the face, and all of this is very traumatic to her, that she's going to have to be touched and be dunked in water. And I said, I personally would speak to the pastor and tell them that she has, these sensitivity issues, and see, what you could do about it. And then Lord Zipper brought up that maybe you could get in the water with her. And that really made the mom feel really good too. And anyway, this went on for several hours. We talked to her. Everybody shared with her. And by the end, you could tell she felt so much better that she had come to the community to just talk about it and to just figure it out together, instead of stressing about all the things she would have to do. And it's not hard it's not hard. It's very hard when you're a non-believer and your ex is a believer and you're going through this with children. It can be very, very traumatic for everybody involved. And I just love the way they all came together to really help her figure this out, so she wasn't figuring it out alone. I don't know if any of you were there, but it was a really, I thought, a very heartwarming story. Tracy, did you have anything really amazing this week that you wanted to share that you saw in the community?
I mean, all of mine are selfish. I think for me, my personal favorite part of the week was getting to meet and talk to a beautiful unicorn. I don't know if she's still in here or not, but
I love beautiful unicorn.
I haven't really got to share all parts of my deconstruction story with anybody ever. And I kind of got to just lay them all out. And it felt so good for it to not be inside my head anymore. I don't think I had ever put all of the puzzle pieces together myself. And having a place to do that, where, first of all, I felt safe because there's only a couple of us. And second of all, she was so kind. And I remember the first time I really tried to lay it all out for anybody, I was incredibly emotional. And it just felt really nice to practically say, yeah, this is what happened. And this is how I stepped away from it. So yeah, that was really cool. Plus, every Wednesday we have Bible study with Crystal, which reminds me what it's like to be together with a group of people who want to learn.
I have a question, Tracy. You guys have Bible study?
Yes, Crystal hosts Bible study Wednesday at 11 p.m. Pacific. We're on Genesis.
11 a.m. Pacific. Mm-hmm.
So is it like a part of the deconstruction? Because I'm just so sick of the old Bible studies. I wanted to see if there was one of deconstruction of new information they have found or something.
So it is at 11 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays, right here, if you want to join us. And the deconstruction is for non-believers. What we do is go through the Bible chapter by chapter. We're on chapter 12 of Genesis this coming week. And we go over the historicity of it, and no theology. We're not, no dogma. This is about learning about what the text says and where it came from and why it says what it says. And so it's really informative. We often have people like Rabbi Hannah in there, or Rabbi Bert, Joel is there, DC is there, Tracy is there. We have very biblical scholars often in chat or there. Nick Graves is there. So really educated people who know their Bible help us go through the text.
And what date and time and all that was it?
Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Oh, damn. I'll see if I can make that one. I know work how it goes.
I'm going to be getting the rest of them posted on my YouTube by tomorrow. So if you ever miss and can't be there, you can always listen to the YouTube, and the YouTube's in my bio. So so you can always catch up or listen at another time and go through the Bible that way too.
Your Bible study sounds really interesting, Crystal. I'll have to try to make it someday to that, because that's the sort of thing I'm really interested in right now, is like more about historicity and scholarship and how ancient people conceived of what God is like.
Exactly. That's what I was interested in too. And I thought, I hear everybody sharing that information with us, but I want to learn it too. So I decided to do a Bible study so that I could learn it too. But go ahead, Tracy. You were finishing up there and we kind of interrupted with a commercial for me.
I mean, commercial for you is perfect. I don't know what else I was going to say, but I'm sure something else will pop up in my head eventually. Stop.
Lotus, did you want to share a story about something that you saw happen during the week that was, a really good thing in the community?
Well, in the deconstruction community, I found that someone, because they kind of dealt with a lot of self-hate and like hating themselves, because God always said we're evil, we're nasty, we're this, that, and the other thing. And I forget who it was, but this person said, well, your God also says in the beginning God created everything good, so this whole you're bad and you're evil is BS, because they're still with technically God, so they didn't want to get to that part. That she basically said, like, your God didn't make a mistake, people's idea of him did, or something like that. He said, no, what did he say? He said something along the lines of like, basically, you're not at fault for what a father effed up. Like, basically, like, because how they say, like, oh, we're the one who made a mistake. Like, no, we're not. It's not us, like, as, deconstructionists or whatever's fault, because of the whole dynamic of Christianity is, like, based on a father figure, right? So she basically felt a lot better after that, because she was dealing with such heavy, like, load of, like, oh, well, I'm the one who's at fault and this, that, and the other thing. And the guy or whatever, again, I don't know his name, but he basically said, like, you're not at fault for the fact that father didn't do his job.
That's true.
And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, wow. I was like, well, then it's kind of not on us. It's on whoever really is the Christian God or his father or whatever, And I kind of, like, honestly felt relief and freedom from that myself personally, because, as we are adults now, at least over 18 in here. And I was like, you know what? Our earth has been measured to be millions and billions of years old. So this dude's old, if he is real and he exists. So for me, it's kind of like, yeah, no, we're not at fault, if anything. So I kind of felt freedom from that personally. So if anything, it kind of got rid of the condemnation or the whatever you want to call it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I thought there was something cool to share, that, like, anyone who's going through deconstruction, like, you're not at fault for what a father does or does not do. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's really an important message to hear. Schley, good morning. How are you?
Oh, hi, everybody.
Did you have something you wanted to share about something good that happened in the community this week?
A couple things. I think it's super really cool and neat when it's like a rare chance. Like most of the time when we have these conversations, I know that like I've spoken, hey, oh, sorry, ADD. I've spoken to a lot of creators where they're like, they have this like understanding of usually the person we're speaking to isn't going to get it. Like they're not going to understand, we're not going to agree, we're going to just kind of come to an impasse, and then they're going to move on and I'm going to move on, and hopefully somebody in the chat was listening in and it made an impact. And that's why a lot of you guys, like a lot of the creators, do what they do. And so it's usually for like the audience or the chat or somebody that's in the comments who, wow, sorry, dog,
That's okay.
is doing things, you know. Does that make sense? ADD, sorry. You guys are so cute and sweet. Anyways, I love it when there is a moment of impact with the person that they're speaking to. And that happened twice this week in 2 lives. I think it's happened like for
Thank you.
several of you guys, but like Joel, I think you had one. I think, and Justin has a few. Like, I don't know. I just think that's really neat, you know, because when you can actually have an effective conversation with someone and reach across, that's why I like this space. I like to be a part of like effective change, because otherwise, oh my God, Benny,
Hey.
squirrel, you know what I'm saying? That's what I love. I love when we can come across and have a productive conversation. And it doesn't have to be about like, you're an idiot. Cause like I was telling Tracy the other day, like, guess what? Not that long ago, I believe those things, you know, you believe those things. And so it's more, I think if you're going to be a part of conversations like that, what's the goal? If your goal is to just be hateful and sling mud and point out how they're idiots, I mean, I guess go for it. Like, that wouldn't be me. I just think there has to be, yeah, Dr. Joe, exactly, like an authentic exchange of ideas that can transform.
Exactly.
God, that's such a beautiful way to put it. Anyway, that's it. I love you guys. I love this community. I love our Discord. I think it's such a cool place. And what I really love is when anybody has an idea, we share that and we make it happen. Like the mental health spaces that we created this week, the documentary page, like we can share ideas. We can share these resources. By the way, just a plug for that in the mental health space on the Discord. By the way, if you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? Where are you at?
You can DM me if you want to join the Discord, or
Yes.
Benny Boy, we'll get you a link, and yeah, definitely join our Discord.
But by the way, I've been working with a therapist from this particular place, and it's online, like virtual, at my convenience. And then it's really cool because I think a lot of the reason why people ignore their mental health or don't find a therapist that they connect with is financial reasons. And this particular one works with you, and you can work with an intern therapist who is working directly with the psychiatrist and the doctor in their training program, but they're also offering their services at a discount or like pay what you can rates. So definitely check that out if you're looking for that. Anyway, that's my plug, and I adore everybody, and you guys are amazing.
And
Thank
I
you for
adore
letting me
you.
be here.
Oh, thank you for being here. Before we go on, I'm going to first ask you guys to tap, tap, tap that screen. Can you guys get this over 10,000? I really appreciate it. When you guys, and thank you so much for the gifts and helping me reach my goal, everybody. When you guys do this for creators, not just me, you help it so that they can go live more often, that they get pushed out in the algorithm. It's hard to go live when you only have 3 or 4 people in your live and to try to do it again and again. So by helping people build their live audience, you help them feel like that they can do it again, and it makes it worth their time and stuff. So I really appreciate it, and continue to gift my panel because I always have amazing panels. So if you love hearing from these people, please gift them too. I want them to feel the love too. Before we go to Dr. Joe, I want to tell you a story real quick of another thing that I saw happen this week. It was in Cash's live, and Hanji and Justin were there. And I'm sorry, I don't remember, Joel, if you were there. I don't remember who else was there. Like I said, sometimes these lives get mixed up, okay? I do remember Justin and Hanji and Cash. And a gentleman came in and they said, hey, are you a believer? And he said, well, I don't want to be, but I feel like I'm being sucked back in because of my wife. And they said, oh yeah, sometimes that happens. He goes, she has terminal cancer. And they were like, oh. And he goes, and I don't want to think that I'm never going to see her again, but I can also not deal with, the God of this Bible. But, I'm having a really hard time with this mentally. I'm just really having a hard time dealing with this. And, I'm breaking these, I'm taking these stories and I'm really shortening them for all of you guys. A lot went down in this live with this conversation, and it was beautiful. But Justin said at one point, you can believe in a God, and it doesn't have to be the God of this Bible. I mean, you can believe that there's an afterlife and that you're going to see your wife again, and it doesn't have to be this God. And he was like, oh, like he had not thought of that, and anyway, meanwhile, Justin said in the chat, can somebody please get Dr. Joe? And Dr. Joe came in, and she does what she does. And I'm not going to continue the story from there because I didn't get to see all of it after that. But this man received a lot of help and love and comfort and compassion in a time of very serious need. And he got that from this community and these amazing people. And if you're not following Dr. Joe, you know what I'm going to say right now. What are you doing with your life? Okay. So I want to introduce you to the amazing Dr. Joe, but I also want to tell you right now that she could use our help. She has gone through some crap herself this past week or so, and she has some serious damage to her home, and her insurance has denied helping her. And we have started a new community outreach area in this year. She's gone through some crap this year. It's in the Discord. And if you can at all, if she's ever helped you or somebody, please think of sending her whatever you can. Any little bit will help. And it's in the Discord under community outreach. It also might be in her bio, I think. But Dr. Joe, if you want to add to that story that I was just sharing, I'd love it. Or if you have some more stories you'd like to share, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Joe.
Happy Saturday, all. I am just so honored to be in this community. Some of you have probably heard me say that I didn't know I needed this community. I deconstructed between 2009 and 2011, so it's been a long time. My kids have grown up, I've got grandkids. I mean, life is completely different. I didn't think or know I needed you guys. And I started my TikTok in support of a course that I'm launching this fall. And my page started feeding me this like wild ass stuff. And I didn't even know deconstruction was the term. When I did it, it was deconversion, right? So I deconverted. And I have just been, my evenings and other time are just filled with amazing, quirky, wonderful, passionate people. And I am so humbled and honored. This week, two things. One was when you guys reached out to me to see if I could give some support to the hurting husband. And I was so honored that you guys thought I could be of help. And I'm not going to use any names. He's not a client, so I don't have to worry about, anything like HIPAA, but we have talked back channel as well since then. And I'm just so humbled that I could be there for that moment and give some support. And then the other is, this is really going to sound so self-serving, but I'm in Leaving Faith Sarah's moderation crew, and we have a Discord, and we talk about our lives. Of course, we talk about, the nitty gritty of what's going on. And I posted about the full denial of my insurance claim. And she asked if she could initiate some support activity for me. And I was just, and still am, blown away. When Crystal reached out to me through DM saying she had heard about it, I was just kind of stunned because, the love and support among unlikely cohort friends is just amazing.
It is an amazing, amazing community. To tell you how amazing what Dr. Joe did. When I had left for a while, when Justin and Hanji were talking to the husband, it was still very serious and solemn. I came back in a little bit later when Dr. Joe was with them, and they were laughing, and it was just really beautiful to see that whole thing turn around in such a short time, and to know that they are still talking back and forth just does my heart really good. It really does. So yeah, I'm so glad I got to see that, and I'm so glad Dr. Joe is a part of our community. And if you can, like I said, please do what you can. If you need help too, what I ask that if you post in the outreach portion is that you tell why you need help, and then you post some way for people to help you, whether it be PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, what have you, GoFundMe. I just know that a lot of us, we might not be able to help, but if we can, we want to help each other. And I thought it was a good way for us to be able to start helping each other. So, yeah. Beautiful unicorn, how are you this morning?
Wait, right before that, I want to say that in one of Sacred Scars Dave's trauma support groups, when he was doing that, we talked about, Justin was there, I don't know who else was there, but we talked about creating honestly, a nonprofit to help us, right? To be a entity that had some vetting and some accountability, but to formalize helping people in the deconstruction community. So we had talked at length that Saturday night about doing that. I think all of us are so busy we haven't moved forward, but it's definitely been a function we've been aware of that we want to do, because we all have no values and morals. So
yeah. Yeah, right, exactly.
I
And
would love to get in on like a strategic planning like discussion for that, because I work with a lot of nonprofits, and like I literally work in like federal grants that go to behavioral health support. So there's probably a way, especially with somebody who is licensed, to work with behavioral health, that we can like work that into all of this like amount of resources that I have over on like this end with HRSA grants or SAMHSA grants, or there's all kinds of like just money that is out there for a number of different things. So yeah, I would love to like get in on discussion for that nonprofit idea. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
I think, no, I'm glad you interrupted, because yeah, you do have a lot of knowledge about things like that. I think that Benny and I should get together this week and let's set a date to start, let's start a date for a first meeting to start planning this out and put it into action. And the way you put it into action is you just start it. So Benny, I'm going to get with you. We're going to start a date. We're going to talk about who, we think could help us, what it should look like, and we'll get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I love it. I love, like that's what my master's was in, was getting, like grant writing was a very big part of it. So I would love to put that to use.
Oh, go ahead, Dr. Joe.
That sounds awesome. I'm familiar with both of the organizations you mentioned, Benny, and there is grants out there. And I think if we can, I'm anticipating that if we can bring in some support for religious trauma into it, we are more likely to access some outside, not just from our community, but some outside funds. So just throwing that out there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said, I have no degree. I have no anything, but I am a person who will, start the ball rolling on things. Like, I'm like, okay, we need to do something. Let's get it going. And then you guys might have to take it from there. But I'm one of those people. So that's all I got. Before we go on, Solovino, today we're talking about things that have happened that are good in this community this week. Was there anything that you wanted to share that happened in any of the lives you were in, or anything like that?
Well, I hate to just come in here and brag about my own lives, but I do.
We want to hear it.
Well, I just like the fact that, there are conversations that can be had in which, people are not being inflammatory, and they're having their disagreements. They're letting each other speak, and then walking away with, I think, a more broadened perspective of other people's beliefs. And I think sometimes that's what really has to take place. There's a time for the whole grilling someone and making them, matching their energy, if you will, well, like I do with a lot of my TikToks videos. But when it comes down to it, I really just enjoy having the conversation and let someone be polite, and we flesh things out. And I've seen that happen in my lives, and I see it happen in other people's lives as well. And by lives, I mean, TikTok lives. I'm not talking about their actual, but.
Right. Beautiful unicorn, good morning. Thank you for being here. Did you have anything that you thought was really good that you wanted to share from this week?
Good morning, Crystal. Yeah, this week I saw someone who is in a really dark place, and just a whole community of people surround them and make them feel cared about and loved, and just the impact that had on everyone was so beautiful.
I really love seeing that. And I see it a lot. I wish I would write these things down a little bit more, or maybe do little videos to share about them more, because I do see it happen a lot in this community. And I think that sometimes, like I said, the the arguments and debates and stuff kind of overshadow all the good that gets done. Does that make sense at all?
Yes, it does.
Another good thing I saw happen this week, before we move on, and I'm gonna talk to Deborah in just a second here. Hi, Lucretia. Is this was a funny one, but it happened in Deborah's live, and that's why I want to share it before I move on to her. Deborah was hosting a live, and in Deborah's live, I'm a mod. If I mod for you and I have guest powers, I do not use them unless you ask me to. And that means I can bring up or take down a guest at any time. And I did have guest powers in Deborah's live, but I am not going to bring people up when she's talking, because I don't want to ruin the flow. I don't know if she's ready for another guest. For me, if you have guest powers, I ask you don't use them really unless I ask you to, because I don't like people bringing up people when I'm not ready for it to introduce them or whatever. And I don't want you taking down somebody that I'm in the middle of a conversation with. And so I respect those same things when I'm modding for somebody else. And she had a guest up on her live, and we were just having a conversation, you know? And I get a message from somebody else in the community, and they say, Crystal, go check Discord. And I said, okay. So I go check Discord, and they say, this person knows my mom and dad. And the person who I'm talking to, her father is passed on, and I know this, okay? And she goes, and she has been coming into my lives and telling me that my dad is disappointed with me, and that my dad would be horrified by who I've become. And so this person is literally telling my friend that her father, who is no longer with us, is disappointed in her. And she goes, but now she has changed her name to be my maiden name. It's like she is taunting me, like she's trying to be me. And I'm like, okay, I will try to get a hold of Deborah in a DM and let her know that we should probably remove this guest. So I DM Deborah, and I tell her in chat, I DM'd you. And Deborah's like, I can't check that right now, Crystal. And I'm like, okay. So Deborah has a co-host, Demi. If you don't know Demi, I don't know, again, what you're doing with your life. But I start trying to message him, but Demi doesn't always pay attention to chat, which you don't do when you're on panels a lot, which I completely understand. And I see Hanji request to go up, and I want to put her up there because Hanji also knows what's going on. She's in this Discord. She's in this conversation.
No one ever has to ask to bring up Hanji in my life.
Okay, thank you. I didn't want, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to respect your life. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, I don't know what to do here, you know? But Deborah brings Hanji up, or somebody does. I figured it was probably you. And Hanji waits a beat, you know? And then she just tears into this woman and tells her, how dare you? And she doesn't use any names because she knows the woman knows who she's talking about. And yes, she did. Hanji ate that girl up. And I know that doesn't sound like this feel-good moment, but what it did for my friend and what it did behind the scenes, it was very healing. This person has been antagonizing our friend, has been just evil, if you ask me. Just like, who does that? Who sits there and tells somebody that their father who has passed away is disappointed in them and then changes their name to the maiden name? And I don't know, it was very, very stalkerish and psychotic, and Hanji just handled it the way Hanji handles things. And it was, I was proud. I was proud of Hanji. And then Deborah, she was like I know if Hanji's saying this, I don't even have to ask why. I don't even need to question this situation. And yeah, so I don't know. I saw something really good in that and very cathartic too. But Deborah, how are you this morning? And do you have any good things that you want to share that you saw happen this week in our community?
Oh, geez. I'm not sure anything that can top that.
Right?
I really can't. I saw, of course, you're going to have your weekly drama that happens within certain circles. I saw some of the best chef's kiss reaction to a group of people trying to call out Demi. And he threw on a live yesterday. I don't know if anybody saw it because Thursday and Friday seem to be super slow on TikTok. But he decided to turn the tables and say, all right, I'm going to call myself out. How about that? Now, this is in response to, and I know a lot of people might think this is controversial, but Demi said if he ever caught anybody laying a hand on his daughter in a schmexual way, he would turn around and do the same thing to that person if he caught him. And people are like, no, that's victimizing somebody. You know, and I'm like, I don't care. I've seen the girl with the dragon tattoo. I mean,
yeah, yep.
Why the hell not, right? So I'm standing by, and he decided to do a call out on himself, and it was so like refreshing because you don't normally see shit like that. He's like, all right, if anybody really does have a problem with me, and he's like, call everybody, share out this live to everybody, and we can do it now. We can do it here. We can do it now. Does anybody have anything that they want to, clear the air about me? Let's do it here. Do it now. And I was like, you know what, Demi? I don't know about you and your request from your wife for 11 ice cubes. I don't know. And it just became silly. It just became this whole like ridiculousness live of a bunch of silly shit. And I was laughing so hard my sides were hurting. And that was the best thing ever.
That's awesome. And Deborah, I'm going to message you right after this live because I want to see if we can get together next week for our book club. If you don't have Deborah's book, get it right now. We're going to do a book club and she's going to come in. We're going to get to ask her questions and talk with her. And I'm reading her book right now and it's just amazing. You're so talented. Anyway, if you're not following Deborah too, again, what are you doing with your life? She's an amazing person. We're in lives together a lot and she teaches me so much every freaking time. Her name is so perfect, Deborah Grace. She has so much grace. Like this one live we were in, I just couldn't take it anymore with this one person. I just literally had it. And I finally said in the live, Deborah, I don't know how you do it. And she goes, Crystal, I get spicy too. And I'm like, and as soon as I dropped down, she did get spicy. And I was like, yay, thank you. Because I sometimes just cannot hold it in. I cannot deal with the cognitive dissonance and I can't deal with the blatant lies and stuff. So she is my calming spirit. And she not only teaches me so much about the Bible, but listening to her talk and the way she talks with people has helped me be better when I'm dealing with people. She makes me a better person.
Listen, a little known fact about myself. I don't do it anymore, but I did about 7 years of kickboxing. And so when Demi tells people that he would go hard on somebody who touched his daughter, I'm like, hell yeah, I would too. When I say that I would go girl with the dragon tattoo on somebody's ass, I sure as hell would. So I am very calm. I'm very professional, yes. But there's a side of me most people don't want to see.
And that is me. I can totally relate to that.
Benny boy, how are you this morning?
Morning, Crystal. I'm doing all right. Just had a little brunch. I guess it's not quite breakfast time. It's noon for me. But just sitting here with Seth, or no, was it you or Seth that sent me the live? And I was like, oh yeah. So I jumped in. I am terrified of Deborah and Schley at the moment. I'm very happy that you both are on our side, because I honestly, with like some of the characters in our community, I'm like blown away at how people could like go up against the likes of like Deborah or like Justin or even Joel. Joel cooks sometimes. I don't know if you guys know this, but Joel will cook. And
I love his lives.
And I've heard
Joel say the F word before, so yeah, he does. He can get spicy.
So funny.
He will drop that bomb. Or, well, I mean, that word.
That bomb. Yeah.
I've been having a pretty decent week. Was feeling pretty good about myself, and with Seth, we sent a piano over to Pax. If you don't know who Pax is, he's in our Discord community. I'm trying to help him out. He's unhoused at the moment, and is trying to get back on his feet, and said that he needed a keyboard. We had an extra keyboard, sent it out, and I think he's going to start doing lives now that are similar to like LG's kind of, or DC, like making kind of like secular changes to gospel songs, stuff like that. I know he's like super talented, so excited for that. I've seen so much good stuff. Like that Discord is growing, and it's like so just, I don't know, awarding to see it like turn from literally just an idea into like I won't be on there for maybe a day or something, just taking a break, and I'll come back and everybody's having all these awesome conversations, and like the creators are talking to the people that are too afraid to maybe come up and ask a question, or they're only taking opposition at that time, so they get the chance to ask this question or anything. Like I had somebody asking about you, Deborah, yesterday, and they were Crystal was there, like in the chat, and they were saying that they wanted to start reading your book, and I said, go and do it. Like, what are you doing? Like, seriously, it's so good. And it's like the perfect place to start, because they also were just kind of starting their deconstruction journey. And I think that that's like, you've provided like the best way to kind of start, and that's just with the Bible itself. And like, it can take you down a road of many different paths of deconstructing. If you want to go the scholarly way, if you want to go more of the philosophical way, I love it. So yeah, I don't know, I'm just always being awarded.
I'm gonna have to tell my ex that, because he and his son were both looking at my book when I first started it, and they're like, this is too scholarly. I was like, what? And I'm like, but I want to be known as that. And they're like, no, you will. Because I had another book on deck that's almost done and it's going to be published. But they're like, you need a book for the everyday person. because that's just not there in these circles. You have authors
Thank you, Seth.
like Seth Andrews, who can get pretty scholarly, and you have like Dr. Dr. Robert Price, and you have books that are out there by who's the other one? Is it not Darth Dawkins, but the other Dawkins?
Richard Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins. Yeah, you have books out there by Dr. Joel Baden. Is it Joel Baden? The one who wrote about the King David? And then, yeah, it's Dr. Joel Baden. And then you have Dr. Joshua Bowen. Those are super academic. And then the normal everyday person isn't going to pick that up and read through it and understand just the basics.
Right.
And so they both encouraged me to like simplify it, make it easy for anybody to just pick up and get it. And they can look up the scriptures for themselves, but and so they were the ones that encouraged me, get something out there that everybody can pick up and understand simply. It doesn't have to be rocket science.
Yeah, you accomplished that. I think like just from I'm only about like halfway through it because I'm like just loving it and just digesting it here and there, and I think that it really like introduces a way to critically examine the text. With the text, you don't really need anything extra at the moment. Let's just keep it all within the book, and that's what you did. And I think it was great. It's masterful in a way that would get people to just think differently, or maybe they pick on one little thing and they say, hey, I want to go down this path that you introduced as like a contradiction or something of the sort, and they can find other resources. It's just a perfect, like, if anybody were to ask me like where's a good place to start, I would definitely recommend your book. Like, seriously, it's not just me kissing your ass.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna tell them that, because I've had a few people tell me the same thing, and I've got reviews to sort of back that up. But to hear that I wasn't there, and you're telling me it warms my heart. But I'm gonna pass on the feel good to other people too that aren't in this community.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear that like story behind it too. That's really cool.
So thank you, Crystal, for hosting this live. This is awesome.
Aw. Yeah, absolutely. And I have to second everything Benny said. I have ADHD, and so it's hard for me sometimes to get through a book, especially if it is very scholarly. And I'm not finding that with your book at all. I find the anecdotes and the storytelling behind your things are really helping me be able to immerse myself a little bit better than if it was just facts coming at me, or like sometimes biblical scholar will send me stuff and it's very difficult for me to get through it. I have to reread and reread and reread, over and over again before I can really understand what I'm reading. But I'm not having that issue with your book at all. I wanted to address another thing that pretty much all of us know that happened this week. Again, I'm still going to leave out names, but we had a friend who had a crisis, and we thought we could lose this friend, and everybody came together, did everything they could to reach out to this person or anybody who might know this person to make sure they were okay. And then Algo held vigil because it was becoming nighttime for many of us and we needed to sleep. And he held vigil to keep us updated through the night if we got any news on the safety of this person. And in the morning, everything was okay. She was fine. And And she shared that she never knew how much we all loved her until she saw all of the messages, all of the concern, all of the outreach to her. And she's just an amazing person. And I'm so glad she's okay. But I am also so thankful for this community and how everybody just kept everybody updated and just did everything they could to reach out to whoever they could. Just, it reminded me, I don't know if you guys ever had these in your churches, but we had a prayer chain where you would call somebody to say, hey, Betsy needs prayer. And then they would call somebody else and let them know. And the prayer chain went, on throughout the church so that everybody could know that somebody needed prayers, right? And sometimes I just miss those parts of my Christian community, but I don't miss it so much anymore because you all are freaking amazing. You're amazing. And I feel like I have all those things that I was definitely missing, from the church experience. Because I'm not missing the God, and I'm not missing the judgment, and I'm not missing the threat of eternal damnation. I'm not missing those things, but I was missing community, and I was missing the human interaction and the love I felt from the friends that I made and stuff. And I get that here, and I never even knew that it would exist. I'm going to be really sad if this little app does go away, this little dancing app, because it has changed my life for the better.
I want to second that because I, just like Dr. Joe said, I didn't know I needed this community. And I think it's like 7 months ago, I started my YouTube channel and I thought, okay, I'll do shorts on TikTok and I'll get my YouTube channel up that way. And next thing you know, I'm meeting all these people and there's a whole community for what I'm doing. I didn't even know what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I actually kind of want to plug, if you guys haven't checked out YouTube, Mind Shift on YouTube. He does a lot of great videos about deconstruction and
you turned me on to him. Actually, you mentioned him and I started watching him. Oh my gosh, so good. So good.
Yeah, really, really informative. And he's, he's just in YouTube land, but he's amazing. But I wanted to just sort of give a shout out to Benny because I know that he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes that maybe a lot of people don't realize. Like Justin is on YouTube, streaming on YouTube because of Benny, and same with Joyful. And he's helped me just like get me sort of the ball rolling for me to get on YouTube, get my live streaming on YouTube. So Benny's just a huge, and I think Benny, you set up the Discord, right?
Yeah, it was my old, I had a personal one that I was going to invite friends to. And then I was like, you know what? Justin's got all these people that want him to have a Discord. I'm just going to make the decision for him.
That's incredible. And I feel like Benny's kind of brought us together in this indirect way even more. So just thank you very much, Benny, just for being you. And Crystal, doing stuff like this is a beautiful idea, and you're just a force in our community. So I'm very grateful to you too. And the way you moderate Joyful's lives, like that, you're brilliant, you're funny, you're just a wonderful person. And so I'm really grateful for you. And I just wanted to say that as well.
Aw, thank you. Crispin, good morning.
Good morning.
Did you have anything you wanted to share about, something good?
Not this week, but since we're all talking about everything.
It doesn't have to be this week.
Oh, okay. Well, the first thing I messaged Justin ever was you have just made all my childhood dreams come true of having these live debates with facts. it's the best because I grew up in a church family, and that was my dream. I just wanted to have more knowledge to like defend my non-belief. And it just led me to all you guys, and it's amazing, and I love it here.
Well,
Can
we
I
love
add a
you.
little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because my mom would read the Bible to us every day growing up, almost every day. And then when I would go to church and I would hear a 20-minute sermon, I always felt like this isn't enough. And there's a scripture that talks about the meat instead of the milk. That you should be, your palate should be hungry for the meat of the word. I always would leave church feeling like that just was so surface level. That was milk. I need more. I need more. I need more. I need more. And it didn't matter what church I went to. I always felt like I was hungry for more. I finally feel like I'm getting that in this community.
Same. I know what you're saying. I like totally feel that same exact way.
Yeah, now we actually know what the book says. Like, they were just hiding so much of it. And you'd think they'd choose a new chapter to like go over. And it's like, no, it's the same crap over and over again, all the good parts.
I feel like
Yeah,
I've been
absolutely.
learning, like I've learned so much since I've joined the community. I can't even begin. I've also bought like 20 books in the last year, but it's just, I know I'm buying the right books. I know I'm going in the right directions.
Thank you, Anata.
I know I'm not like buying into some weird conspiracy, like.
Yes, that part.
Because there's that distrust. You have that distrust, like when you leave a community like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've tried to invite my brother up to debate Justin or any of y'all ever. And he is now cowering back and saying he doesn't know enough. And I'm like, I thought I had to learn the whole book to debate my brother. He leads worship at his own little church right now. And he himself said he couldn't debate him. So it's disappointing almost.
I wouldn't debate
that's
Justin.
Chef's kiss right there. I wouldn't either.
I would not.
There's a few people who I wouldn't get in the ring with, and Justin is one of them. Like, I got 9 out of 20 trivia questions right, and people were like, "Whoa!" And then Justin gets all of them right, plus 2 bonus ones.
He corrected 2 of them.
Yeah. No, that's not right. I was actually in Ezekiel. Oh, well, does anybody else have anything they want to share? If you are in the chat and you want to come up, I'm sure we can switch somebody out if you want to come up and share. But I just thought, so another reason I wanted to do this morning was I saw something really crappy happen on a live too. I'm not going to get into it right now, but after this really crappy thing happened on this live, and there was a bunch of us in it, somebody said, "Crystal, you should start a live where we can vent about this," because we were all pretty upset after it happened. And I was going to do that. And then I thought, I don't want to feed into that negativity, if that makes sense. Instead, why don't we talk about some of the good? And that was another reason why I wanted to do this, was because there is so much good that happens in this community, and we are often told that we don't have morals because we don't have a God to give us morals. We are often told, why do anything good if you don't believe in God, and just things like that. And I was like, I want people to know like how good you all are, how amazing you all are. I thought I felt love in my Christian community, and what I felt was not love, as you all know, because the minute you leave, the love stops. I told this story. When I left my last church, I was still a Christian. I just no longer could align with the church, with the things they were doing. And I ran into one of my friends who hadn't reached out to me in weeks after I left the church. We used to do everything together, and I leave the church, and now she's not calling me or anything, just having nothing to do with me. And I ran into her at the store, and she said, I just want you to know that Jesus still loves you. And I was like, what are you talking about, Lori? I'm still a Christian. I just left your church. But it dawned on me that, like, they already discard you and disown you in the entire community just because you leave the church. They assume now God doesn't love you either, And so could you imagine, like, what kind of rejection it is when you, like, leave the faith entirely, And a lot of us have faced that. A lot of us have lost family members and friends, our community, our everything, simply because we just don't believe anymore. And not only that, we are demonized. We are told that we are Satan. I can't tell you how many times people assume that because I am no longer a Christian, I worship Satan, which is such a weird jump for me, but it's crazy. And I wanted to show people, I wanted us to highlight each other. I wanted us to come together and say, we're good people. We are good people.
We are good people. You guys, if it weren't for this community, I honestly, I don't know how, like, the surgery that I got, like, with this community, I was able to raise, just by asking for a little bit of help, like $3,500 between, like, Joyful and Justin and Skits. And there's a video I put out where a lot of people, helped, and it got me to, like, go to Indiana and get this surgery that I needed to not have to do chemo. And yeah, now, like, I was looking at, I don't know, a half a year worth of suffering, and now I'm able to get back to life within just a few months. And so for that reason alone, I will, like, never stop fighting for everybody.
And we love you, Benny. And that was, that was also, like, just an amazing thing to see people come together for Benny when he needed everybody most. And Benny's partner, Seth, has started an area in our Discord where you can encourage each other and hold each other accountable to, for if you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to get healthier. It's just another place where we're supporting each other. And that's amazing, because that's a place where I am in my life right now, where I need to get healthier, and I'm struggling with it. And now I have this support system within the community to help me with that. Hi, Lucretia. How are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm okay. How are you guys?
Doing great. Did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah, just really quick. Is my audio okay? Because I can take my headphones off if there's an echo or anything.
No, you're fine.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, well, just I'm at work, like I said, so, like, real quick, I wanted to share something. I've been, like, in and out of lots of different lives, like we do, and I can't remember exactly the lives that it was, but I did notice that people who, like, I just noticed people who are believers and maybe have been that way their whole lives, saying things like, I really appreciate the information that you've shared with me, and I really want to know what's true, and I'm going to look into that. And, like, I super appreciate hearing those things, because we don't hear it all the time, people.
Yeah.
Right. They identify with their beliefs, and it's hard when they get challenged. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that I appreciate this community because I know, like I've said in the chat many times, when you're raised in a religion or a fundamental religion, you can be emotionally stunted, and it's hard to enter the adult world and not feel like a little child. So I have really super appreciated them. It just feels like everybody's been really patient with me, and I just appreciate that. And I just wanted to say hi to everybody. You could put a put a voice to the name.
Yay! I'm glad I get to put a voice to the name. We hang out and chat all the time together.
I know, and you know, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Like don't all live where we can just help each other at 3 o'clock in the morning. But you know, if it can wait just a little bit, somebody will be there. You know, if I have a question or I have a concern, and yeah, I super appreciate everybody and everybody being patient with me. Thank you so much.
Well,
There's part of
we're
this
so
community.
glad.
There
Yeah.
is part of this community that stays up all night, and it's challenging to keep a normal sleep schedule in this community. But
Girl, let me tell you. Oh my gosh.
But there are people, you know, in places like Ireland and Scotland and England and
Right.
the Africas. There are people that do these lives from other countries that if you're not in the same normal community, if you keep scrolling, the algorithm will bring them up for you at 4 o'clock in the morning. And
I never realized
appreciate
how much I
that,
love
too.
time zones.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's true. That's
Tracy,
true.
go to
I do
sleep.
stay. And then that sometimes when you're scrolling, that TikTok says scrolling instead of going to sleep. I'm like, swipe as fast as I can so I don't have to feel bad.
Right.
Are
I
you
called out.
still scrolling?
Oh, are you watching me? Oh. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go. I'm going to go home and enjoy my Saturday in some other ways. But thanks a lot, you guys. Thanks, CrystalJae. I appreciate you. Oh, hey, quick question.
Thank you.
I did try. I looked for Joyful's live Monday and Thursday, and I don't know what happened. Can you, if this isn't a place to talk about it, can you message me?
No, I can talk about it here. Joyful has COVID, y'all. He is sick. If you can send him some love. Oh, thank you, Anada. You know, he popped in here for a little bit. I don't know if he's still listening, but he's amazing, but he's sick. I had COVID just a few weeks ago, so I know what he's going through, and it just sucks so bad. But he wanted to go live for a little bit yesterday. Maybe he might go live tomorrow. I don't know. We haven't talked about it yet, but if not, I think he'll be back Monday. He'll be back Monday.
Okay, one quick thing. I just want to tell everybody here that if you're not following CrystalJae, I do not know what you're doing with your life.
No.
And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
You know, I want to give a shout out now to the people in our chats, okay? Y'all, because we have the most amazing people in our chats, and they don't all feel comfortable with coming up on lives or coming up in panels and stuff. But yeah, we have like the most amazing support in our chats. I'm looking at you, Misery, for one. You know I'm talking about you, right? But they're our unsung heroes, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I can think of like Kelly, Giga. I mean, I was one for a while.
Savage. Yeah. I was one too.
Rainbow Ghost.
Yes, like, there's like almost
Casey.
too many to name.
Casey.
Well,
Oh,
he
hey,
comes
hi,
up every
Nebula.
once in a
What
while.
about our agencies? Also, Nebula is an amazing agency. If you need an agency, I'm telling you, that's my agency, and I love Nebula. Very supportive. Gosh, we just have so many amazing pieces to this community. Yeah.
Victor UGO is my agent. Awesome person. and very helpful as well. Helping to support us from the attacks that we get. I remember being in the Christian community thinking, oh, the devil is attacking us, and that's not the case. We have attacks from the Christian community trying to shut our voices down. And it is the antithesis to the First Amendment. Obviously, we see this slide into theocracy. And here we all are doing our part to support the freedom of speech. And I love this community. Crystal, you were talking about, even if you just leave a church, you're losing your community in that way. And it's sad that I have to draw this piece, that I have to draw this parallel. Yeah. But I had a divorce when I was 27, 28. And I think that's why I had the ability to walk away from my community without the sheer terror of, I'm going to be alone, because I had understood that loss before. So when I left churches, I didn't have that same dread, because I had already known it. And I had a pretty close-knit family that I was a part of for 2 years after my deconstruction. And it was so sad, because I didn't really have many people to talk to. But when I started marketing for my book, that's when I found this community. And I was so grateful and the first year it was really only on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram that I was, marketing. But when I finally pulled the trigger and did TikTok, it has made a world of difference to be able to talk to real people, to exchange phone numbers with some of you, and have actual real deal conversations. I've met some of the people that in person, and that has made such a world of difference. Even people who are barely on this app that are associated to some of my OGs, if you will, that I am still in communication with, here now for close to a year. And that has made a world of difference. I've had people move over from Facebook to TikTok and have had even more of an interaction with them. I can't tell you how much that has been. And when I had such a really hard time last year in September, October, going through depression, having lost a job because of what I do here, the community stepped up and was there for me in such a huge way that I will never forget.
They're pretty amazing people.
Yeah.
And I just feel so lucky that I found all you guys. Like, I don't even know how I think I came across Justin first. And then Hanji, as I tell everybody, I asked her a question or something, or I asked a question in chat. And Hanji immediately, answered the question for me and then friended me. And then, it just took off from there, And I was, overwhelmed by how much love and support I get overwhelmed to this day when I walk in a chat and everybody's like, hi Crystal. I'm like, aw, look at how sweet everybody is. It can just turn your day around, you know what I mean?
Well, no, I'm talking about, I was having intrusive thoughts one day in early October last year, bad. And I'm like, oh shit, I need some help. I need some support. And I turned on TikTok, and the first group that was there wasn't even part of our normal community. It was a creator called Mims, M-I-M-S, in all caps.
Oh, I know Mims, yeah.
And they do mostly political. You know, they have like a digital, what is that, a printer, 3D printer business.
Mm-hmm.
And I started crying because he was defending women. And it made so much of a difference to me. And I just sat there for, I don't know, probably an hour. And he was jumping down this guy's throat who was super misogynistic. And he's like, you know, this, I shouldn't even be, there should be a woman up here on the panel because it's about them. And I typed in chat and I said I would, but I'm crying. But keep going because you're helping me. And I messaged him the next day and I said, you know, you may have saved my life, and I will be eternally grateful because you defending women gave me hope in humanity in one of the darkest periods of my life. I've had 2 times in my life where I've had those thoughts, and one of them was 12 years old. And the other was last year. And to have a community like that, be able to give a voice when I couldn't speak. I was sobbing. So
I'm really
that's
glad
the kind of community that is there. And it's mind-blowing how much more of a support that is than God's got you, I'll pray for you. Well, your suffering is just supposed to be that because, you know, Christ suffered first, blah, blah, blah.
Right. And, you know, speaking of men, we have the best men in this community. I cannot tell you how sometimes I don't even, you know, as a woman, and I think every woman in this room can vouch for me on this, you sometimes get desensitized by the misogyny because you see it every day, all the time, okay? So there are times where somebody can be doing something misogynistic towards me, and I don't even see it anymore because it's just a Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? It's just a Tuesday at 2:00. What's new? You know? But I will have men who will jump in and be like, yo, what are you doing to Crystal right now? Like, you are being so misogynistic, you know, like, back off or whatever. And I'm like, aw, thank you so much. Like, yeah, he was being misogynistic, and I just was you know, desensitized to it and what, not even standing up for myself for it. And it's nice to have men who stand up for me when I'm maybe even weak sometimes. Maybe I'm just, you know, at a point where I don't have the backbone at the moment to stand up for myself. And they are the first to jump in. And I love them so much. The men in this community are so supportive of the women in this community. And I couldn't be prouder to be associated with people like Benny and Seth and Justin and the list would go, Joel, Demi. Yeah, the list goes on and on.
Have you seen the change in them in just this last year? Because I know that there were some internalized, right, misogyny within us, right? This just desensitize words. I'm on my first cup of coffee. Desensitizing internalized misogyny that we have had over the years. But when I started to see it and call it out, the men in this community have responded and become even better themselves.
Yes.
And seeing the change in them has warmed my heart so much.
Can I just say something to that point? I know, like, this is just an observation because I've been kind of a lurker and like in and out for the last couple of years too. And I know that there's been kind of times where there is division and there is more drama, I try to like stay out of that, and just like spend my time like edifying and lifting up and getting that in return, because like what's the point otherwise? Like why spend all your time just investing in all this negativity, right? And I choose to see like the good in people, but you have to be choosy about that. You can't just like trust everybody. I've learned that as a very empathetic person, I can get taken advantage of.
What, you mean you have to discern?
Yeah, you have to discern. But what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that the people that are worth, spending your time with, and that's everyone in this community in my eyes, like give them some grace sometimes, give them some benefit of the doubt. Like everything that you hear, or like sometimes people just make these videos that are just so off the wall, and it's like maybe there is something that took place that was like not in their character, and maybe there's something that they're trying to learn or work through or work it out or whatever. But like I think above all, like we should choose to see the good in each other, and we should support each other in that way. And I don't know, I just wanted to speak to that because there's been so many times where I've seen it be so easy to just dismantle something so beautiful like what we have here in this community. And it just doesn't take a lot. And I'm like, no, like, come on, we're stronger. We're better than that. We're bigger than that. And I'm not talking about obvious predatory behavior. Obviously that should be called out and not platformed, and, fuck that guy. But I'm just speaking to like these little everyday spats that then turn into like this division. And so I think this space, Crystal, that you've created today is so important, and just to focus on the highlights and the positive things that we are seeing, and give everybody a chance to come together and unite in such a way. Absolutely. And to see the good and to edify each other and lift each other up. And before I go, I'm going to jet because my kids need me, but I don't know if it was mentioned earlier, but just another example of just this week, Benny and Seth had something that they weren't using, and they were able to send it to somebody that was in need, and now they get to create, and that you never know the ripple effect that's going to come from that gift. And they just did that freely because of who they are. Just like
Because
no
they're
questions
amazing.
asked, just no thought to it. They just immediately, yes, you can have this thing. We're going to send it to you right now. Like, amazing. And that person now will be able to, how many other lives will they be able to, impact because of that choice? And guess what? They did it because of who they are, not who they believe in or the lack thereof.
That's right.
I love that. And I adore you all. And with that, I'm gonna drop. But thanks for having me so much, Crystal. This live
Thank you
is
for
amazing.
coming up, Schley. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Before I go to Light of Asta, and I will get to you, I just want to point out one more thing that I find really important in this community that I think is undervalued. And that is, we were talking about the chat, the people who hang out and chat and stuff, but the humor that you people have has me rolling on the floor every day. It is the highlight of my day to read your comments and stuff. Seth said, did anyone see when I told someone named Pluto that he wasn't even a planet now? And I love that burn so much. But you guys come up with the best comments, with the best, like, Casey makes up names for the dark side of me, like, are not names, but he'll say, I once saw Crystal rip a heart out of a man and eat it. Because of people saying that there's a dark crystal.
There's something else that I want to point out. We have people that lurk in the chats that are also our secret weapon. People like Lynx. Lynx is my secret weapon. If I need her up in a box to go clean smooth off on somebody, Lynx is the one I'll bring up.
Oh yeah.
Like, I know that there are people I can call on who are super supportive. That if I need to unleash, that's my cat right there.
Yeah, Lynx is amazing. I did invite Lynx up. I don't know. They might be busy or something, but
She said she's getting ready for work, just listening in.
okay.
But yeah, she'll come in swinging. And so I don't always bring her up because I'm like, ooh, that's my secret weapon. Like I'm like, I need to keep it calm. I need to keep it cool. But I know I've got her if I need her.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, she's laughing. I'm like, ooh.
Tracy said, my favorite Casey quote was when he saw you jump in the ocean and come out with a shark in your teeth. That had me laughing so hard, Tracy, when he said that. But when I'm on Joyful's Live, there'll be chat just rolling by, and Casey will be coming up with all these crazy things he's seen me did because they talk about dark crystal. Light of Asta, you've been so patient. What would you like to share with us this morning, and how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's only about 11 a.m. here on the West Coast, so just barely getting around a lazy Saturday. But I just wanted to share a couple things from this week, specifically Board Agnostic and I really bonded over us both growing up in the AOG denomination earlier this week, and it was very cathartic. Yes, me too. It was very cathartic to just discuss some of the things we grew up hearing it in the church we were in, and like we were actually talking about like Royal Rangers and missionettes and like some of the more niche associations with like AOG specifically, and it was just so healing to be able to talk openly about it and not feeling like I had a good experience in my church. I was someone that was raised by a mom on disability and welfare, and going to a mega church like a big AOG like I did, things cost money. Kids camp costs maybe, this was probably back in the early 2000s, maybe $50 for a week of camp, something like that. But definitely something my mom couldn't afford. And there was always someone that sponsored me to go. And looking back on it now, I'm kind of thinking like, man, those worship services with us kids falling over in the grass, that was a little weird. But, with that being said, it was just nice to meet fellow ex-AOG. And then another thing, I was in Deborah's Live the other evening, and I believe it was Nick that brought it up, but I actually learned something about the book of Revelation and how it was really controversial and how it was written and it being canonized and stuff. And that really healed up a lot of residual rapture anxiety that has kind of remained as an ex-Christian for myself, because as a kid and as a teenager, something that was very heavy on my mind probably constantly was, if I'm not good enough, I'm going to get left behind. And I saw the movie Tribulation when I was very young.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that really always weighed heavy on my mind. Like, even as someone that stopped going to church at about, early 20s, 19, but still identified as a Christian and still prayed and all of the things that you don't fully let go of just by walking away from the church. It was just very healing. The more I learn, the more I heal. And I just want to, really express my appreciation for these lives because of that.
Were you there when we were talking about the word taken, that also means seized, that could also mean unalived?
Yes, that is the exact conversation that was very enlightening to me when I believe it was Nick that said it when they said that could just be like a mass pretty much unaliving of Christians. I have never even given that a thought, and that really it healed a lot.
The one thing that helped me was somebody had brought up in another live, it was a YouTube video, but somebody asked the question, do souls have nerve endings? Like, do we get a new body that is going to be like immortal, but just continually suffers in hell? Because last time I checked, this concept of souls, they don't really have a body per se, because bodies, entropy takes over and it decays. So if a soul doesn't have nerve endings, how are they going to feel pain in hell?
I heard somebody talking about that this week.
That's what helped me with my lingering fear of hell. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. Every person that I've ever heard about an NDE says they don't feel pain anymore. And that's what's unique about this earthly experience, is because we actually feel. We feel emotional pain, we feel physical pain, and pleasure at the same time, right? So if we don't have that, where is this suffering and torment and gnashing of teeth coming from? Do souls have teeth?
Yeah, I've heard Thinker ask that question before. It's such a good question.
Can I interject here?
Sure, absolutely.
So when I was a Christian, I used to teach this, believe it or not. There's an example in the Bible that talks about the seed of a plant, how when it grows and it goes to wither and die, a new seed comes from it. So I used to use that as an example for our new bodies. I don't believe this anymore, just so you know. That our new bodies, when it passes away, a new seed is brought forth, and it's the exact same as we had before, but it's different in ways that our body here now needs blood in it to survive. That's our lifeline, is our blood in our body. Well, when it says flesh and blood will not inherit the kingdom of God, Jesus said, look at me, my body is flesh and bone. So the blood will be taken out of your body. It is replaced with a spiritual blood. And you have the same body, you have the same feelings, everything like that, but you're a new glorified body that no longer needs the bloodline that we have here on this earth. It's a new Jesus bloodline. So that's kind of how I would explain it.
Man.
Because when Jesus resurrected, he was able to eat and walk and talk, things like that. So he had a body still, a flesh and bone body, but not a flesh and blood body, so to say.
Okay, so I used to teach this. We all have eternal life. Every single person has eternal life. And this is something that I don't normally bring up because it can cause somewhat of a reintegration of fear, and I don't want to put fear in anybody. But eternal life is promised for everybody. It's whether your eternal life is in heaven or your eternal soul is in hell is the question. Yeah, I can understand that if he's the creator of the universe, then he can create a new body without blood that does have this eternal torment, and being immortal doesn't necessarily mean that you burn up in 2.5 seconds like you would in a volcano. But I don't want to create that kind of fear for anybody. It's not fun to think about, what if there is hell? I subscribe to the fact that if there is a benevolent deity, he's not going to be creating this sense of fear in people. But I don't have that fear anymore. This community has dissolved every single ounce of fear that I have about unaliving at the end of this life, about what may or may not happen after this life. I don't have that fear. One of the best questions ever asked of me was, well, what kind of fear did you have before you were born? It's the same.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No problem. No worries.
I give that example. I was born an atheist, raised in an atheist home. We didn't know anything about religion or God. And I was a good person, a good moral person. I was a virgin when I got married. I didn't do evil things. I just didn't think about the afterlife. I just thought when I passed away, I just slept forever. It didn't bother me. I had no fear.
Right.
I didn't wonder about heaven because I didn't know anything about it. And my life was
Right.
perfectly fine until religion came in. Then that's
Right.
when fear got.
Right.
Yep.
That's
And
an
I
incredible
started
story.
judging people, condemning people, seeing separation between people. It caused a lot of harm in me.
Yeah. You're the first person that I've ever heard, having been raised as an atheist, married as a virgin, like you didn't
I get
need
that
an
a lot.
external book. Yeah,
To give me
that's
more.
incredible. That's
Yes, I
incredible.
tell
Like,
that to Christians all the time when they say, well, you won't have morals without God. Yes, I did. I did.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of
But
the reasons why we did this today was I get tired of hearing that we don't have morals, and there's so many good people in this community and who do so many good things, and even like the breakthroughs that I get from hearing you guys talk and reading your books and so forth. Deborah, I had a breakthrough this week that I didn't even, like you go, I didn't even know that was bothering me. You know what I mean?
right.
And it was when I
Yeah.
was listening to the part where you're talking about when you're a little girl and you would like go to look for your parents maybe for a minute and not realize where they were, and you got scared that they had been raptured and you did not.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Not that specific thing happened to me, but I think that whole rapture thing really affected me more than I realized. Like I obsessed over the rapture, not necessarily always thinking I would be raptured either, but I would obsess about what it would look like. I used to listen to that song all the time.
I wish we'd all been ready.
Yes, I wish we'd all been ready. Oh my God, I
The
obsessed.
days grew cold, a piece of bread would buy a bag of gold.
Yep, amen. I used to listen to that on repeat
I
because
have
I
a
was
hilarious
obsessed
story.
with it.
I have a hilarious story about the rapture. Okay, so I didn't get saved till I was 20, and it was because my mother-in-law, after I got married, introduced me to the afterlife and God and all that. Well, that's when the rapture and all that started getting taught to me. So this is back in the day when we didn't have cell phones, right? So my husband's driving in a truck, and just at this time, that's when the Left Behind series was coming out on the shows, the movies. So they were playing commercials for it on the radio. So he's driving down the highway, and he hears a commercial come on, but he doesn't know it's a commercial because he just turned the radio on. And it's saying, everybody, there's people disappeared and their vehicles everywhere. There's major pileups on the highway, blah, blah, blah. He's thinking this is real life news being broadcast to him. So he pulls over in his truck on the highway, and he's sitting there thinking, how can I get a hold of my wife to see if she's here? Because I think I've been left behind. And he is freaking out in his truck till all of a sudden it gets to the end of the commercial, and it describes that it's a show that's coming out and stuff. And I just can't believe that.
Wow.
Oh, man. See, I obsessed over it so much. I used to listen to all the Left Behind series on, on audiobooks when I as a young mom, and I don't know, like I don't know that. So reading your book gave me a breakthrough on that I didn't know I needed. Do you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
without you guys out here telling your stories, sharing your experiences, I don't think I could properly heal. You know what I mean? Like, I need you guys. You guys help me heal things that I didn't even know needed healing.
That's
Melanie,
the same.
That's awesome.
Oh, go ahead,
I'm sorry.
Deborah.
I
Deborah, go
just
ahead.
wanted to say it's the same kind of trauma that was caused when the War of the Worlds was being
Yes.
it was being broadcast on the radios way back in the day. People thought that was actually happening in big cities and getting prepared, and the level of fear that was causing in people thinking this was really happening, rather than a book that was being read over the radio waves.
Yep, absolutely. Melanie, good morning. How are you today? Did you have something you wanted to share about, something good in the community?
Well, hello. I'm doing okay. This week we've done a lot of training at work, so I've not been able to listen as intently as I usually do. But I think one of the things, and Benny knows about this, is that we've been, and with Decon, I've also been going over Project 2025 with Cece, who is a unicorn. So we're kind of bridging that gap a little bit and working with her, and she's a big fan of our community as well.
Seth was showing me that live CC was doing of the training videos.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Talk about apocalyptic.
Very. And we're going back over that beginning on Monday again. Or
I'll have to tune
resuming
in.
where we left off, I should say.
That I'm really glad you brought that up, because DC is another just amazing person in this community, and he is going over Project 2025 with CC. It's a little early for me. I think that they do it at 7, which makes it around 3 or 4 my time or something like that. So I'm not up when they're doing it, because he's invited me to join them, but I can't do it. It's too early for me. But he puts out such amazing content, and different content, political. He does animation. He does music. He's so supportive, and he's such a bright light to this community. And I'm really glad you brought him up, Melanie, because what they're doing is very important. The politics are sometimes hard for us to face sometimes, because it can become emotionally and mentally draining to even hear the god awful things these people want to happen in our country and in our world. But if we don't talk about them, if we don't face them, if we don't get out there and share with people and get people registered to vote, nothing's going to change, or it's going to get worse. And people like CC and DC are doing tremendous work to educate us, and it's really important, and that is really good, and I'm really glad you brought it up.
Yes, CC. Well, both are amazing. I met CC through Jared, or a moral atheist, and she's just amazing. When the Christians get in her chat and start talking about God wants this or God wants this, she goes back and tells them exactly what her interpretation of the Bible is and what a good Christian should be. And it's lo and behold, not what 95% of this country is following.
Yeah, I want to just touch on the politics thing, because I think that's an interesting part of the deconstruction community is politics. We might all not share the same politics, but we do share kind of the same epistemology when it comes to religious beliefs. And when it comes to Project 2025, personally, I think that's a bipartisan like even right wing, I mean, like, because at a certain point, once you go so far right, you get into that Christian nationalist realm. But people that you know are like older Republican, some of like my family, they would not agree with a lot of what 2025 or Project 2025 is about and the Heritage Foundation is about. And yeah, it's just this Christian nationalism is wild, guys. It's out there, and I think a lot of people don't realize that it's in motion, and this is something that like I think goes beyond party. Like this is where it's going beyond it. Yeah, sorry.
I don't normally talk about politics, but I do talk about when they cross over, and quite often they do. I have been out of politics as heavy as I was in them, studied politics for 9 years. I don't normally get into that just because the religion and politics is a little too taxing emotionally.
I get it.
But when you have a Heritage Foundation, which is a 501c3 company, advocating and talking about pushing a political candidate, that's when they should be losing their tax exempt status. And so anybody can take a little clip of something that the Heritage Foundation has put out and report them to the IRS using Form 13909. There's a couple different ways to do that. It's really easily searched on the IRS website to do so. But you're absolutely right. Project 2025 is eerily similar to what you would see on The Handmaid's Tale. When you have people, the commander that you all know who I'm talking about, who's out there saying women should not have the right to vote, that he wants to repeal the 19th Amendment, we have a problem. If women don't get out and vote their conscience to be able to continue to have their voice and vote for the party that is giving them a voice rather than trying to silence them, we're going to have a problem.
We are going to have a problem.
I will openly, and I probably should do a free speech for women live this week.
That would be good.
There's another one that I want to do about purity culture, which again crosses over into this era of like keep women back into the churches or into the homes. I had an email sent to me.
I would like to be a part of that if you don't mind.
That's fine. I had an email sent to me about 2, maybe 3 years ago from a guy named Scotty, who said very plainly that he was a schmatzi, that he hated it was really bizarre. It was so bipolar throughout the whole thing. He hated what was being done to the Jews, but he wanted women to stay inside the parameter of their houses and their property lines. And that he said, I promise, this is the very beginning, we are going to constrain you women. We are going to put you back where you belong. And he said, just watch. I promise, you guys have no idea what we're going to do to you. And it wasn't even a year later that Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Yep. And listen, I'm going to say something. You may think it's controversial, but you can do your homework on this. Us whitey women have to get out there and vote. We cannot leave this up to women of color like we've
Yes.
done in the past.
Yes.
We cannot do that. And we need to always, always, always fight for them with everything we have, because we don't do it enough. And we leave too much on their backs. And we need to go out there. We need to bring people to the polls. If we have to help people register, if somebody needs a ride, help them with that. We can't leave this up to them. It's not fair, and it's something we've done too many times in the past, and it's to our own detriment. Our own detriment when we do that. So I think that that's a very important conversation to have, Deborah. And if you do that, I will be there definitely. But yeah, I think that people like DC and CC and Melanie, who are having these hard conversations, when people like me don't have the mental capacity to do it, I thank you. You guys are doing amazing work, and I do not always have the mental capacity to talk about politics because it affects my mental health in a very real way. And I've worked hard at not being a nihilist, and I don't want to be a nihilist. And so sometimes when we're talking about the things like Project 2025, it literally affects my anxiety and my depression. And so when I see you guys out there fighting the good fight, I want to support you with everything I have, because I can't always do it. I'm not strong enough in that area of my life.
Well, if we don't do something in this election, it could be 200, 300, 400, 500 years before women have the right to vote again.
Oh, absolutely.
And we would be condemning our children and our children's children to the same level of approach. Like, I know history repeats itself, but listen, we don't know what history looked like 200,000 years ago. We don't have to be condemned to the same 1,000 years of on repeat. What if it's a 200,000 years on repeat? We need to bring this to a wider picture. Instead of looking at this from a 400-year perspective of this country, let's zoom out to 50,000 feet and say, wait a minute, we need to be putting a bigger snippet of history on repeat instead of this 10-second clip. It doesn't need to be a 10-second clip of repeat. We've only been in patriarchal systems for 12,000 years. Prior to that, women were revered and worshipped. So let's zoom out and get that back. And I'm not saying, women actually need to be worshipped, from a deity standpoint, but look at the Vikings. They loved and respected their women. Women were part of their councils. Even in if we go back to the Bible and we appeal to those who believe in this biblical God, Deborah was a judge for 40 years, a general, a prophetess, a wife. Esther saved her people. We don't have to be condemned to be sexual vending machines stuck in the kitchen, exhausted and worked to the bone.
Preach it, Deborah.
And to turn this back around to the topic of good things you've seen in this community this week. No, you made me think of something. Don't be sorry at all. We don't have to be those things, and you're right. I do not know if any of you have seen the video with Billy Graham's granddaughter this week, but that, gave me some hope again in humanity. Billy Graham's granddaughter has a video out. If you get a chance, go Google it and watch it. It's Evangelicals for Harris. And she talks about how being a Christian, she could not understand why people were backing Trump. How did they even see anything Christian in this man? And she gets into great detail about it. And I really, even though I am not a believer, I want to help Evangelicals for Harris with every fiber I have. We need to help let the Christian people out there know that Trump is not their choice. That is not the correct choice. That does not align with their beliefs. And so if you get a chance, find the video, share the video, and let's show them that is not the choice. That does not align with their beliefs.
That reminds me, I got sent a video of a Christian pastor who was filling in for the lead pastor. I guess the lead pastor was on a fishing trip for the week, and so he stepped in and he gave a sermon, and it was like 40 minutes long. I watched the whole thing, and he was saying, this is not where we should be. This is not loving. We need to be loving our neighbor. And how can you love your neighbor if you're showing this kind of vitriol to people of color, to people from alternative lifestyles, to women? And it was one of the most beautiful sermons I've ever seen.
I saw that one too. It was, and every time I see something like that, it just gives me that much more hope in humanity. I'm a grandma now, and I'm a grandma of a beautiful little granddaughter. And if you don't think that every day I don't fear for her rights, she is mixed. She is white, Mexican, and Black. And so I think about all of her rights. She's a female who is mixed, and I think I can't sit here idly doing nothing. You know what I mean? Like, this is my baby here, you know? She's my precious little angel, and she has people who on a daily basis hate her for just who she is already, and she's just a little baby, you know what I mean? And I have 2 out of 3 of my children are in the LGBTQIA community. My future son-in-law is trans. My daughter-in-law is bi. And I just have to, I feel like every day is a fight for these people. Every day. And I can't let them fight alone.
I'm sorry for that, Crystal. But as soon as whoever's up there announces their faith in Jesus Christ, they don't care what that person's doing. They announce their faith in Jesus Christ. That's all that matters to them.
And I see the people, and I want to help the people, and I'm not, and I don't know. I don't know. I can't understand hating people for merely just being a person. I don't get it. And anyway, I want to thank you guys all, though, for being here this morning. I want to thank you all for sharing your stories. You really bring so much joy to me, and I don't know what I would do without any of you. Not any of you. If you're in chat, you know how much you mean to me. We laugh it up in chat every day. We're out there, sending the Bible verses to the panel to make sure, don't forget about this one. Hey, make them read this or whatever. And we're cutting it up and sending the gifts and sending the tapping that screen until our fingers are bloody. You know what I'm saying? And but the people on the panels are educating and brilliant and fun. And I always say, I think that a lot of times if I just met some of you on the street, I probably would not talk to you because I have social anxiety, and I would never get to sit at your table because of it. And I feel very honored to be able to sit at your table. You guys, do my heart so much good.
Oh,
So you
Crystal,
have
we
shown
love
me,
you
you've
so
shown me,
much.
yeah, you've shown me more love than anybody. I've not been in this community very long, but as soon as I came in this community, you was the first person that showed me that you even cared about me or anything. And I appreciate it very much.
You do sit at my table because there are times where I'm up on a panel, you're up on a panel, I'm muted, and I'm eating, and you do sit at my table, and you are an honored guest, sharing my meals with me, and I love it so much. And somebody said something in the chat, which made me have like this little mini, like a little mini fantasy, and I don't say that sexually, but I have this fantasy of some press conference where Harris is the president and the press is going after her for something, and she turns to that reporter and says, "I will turn this car around." And I can't wait for that moment.
Oh my gosh, I can see it too.
I watched a video of her this week where you see the moment that she realizes we will not go back is her thing to say. So the first time she said it at a rally, and people just lost their shit when she said it. And I think, yeah, we will not go back. I will not go back. I will not go back.
Yeah, we can't go back to a Trump presidency. We can't. Women will lose their rights, all of them.
Yeah,
it wasn't until 1988 that women were allowed to get a business loan without a man. It was the 1972, I think, when women were allowed to have credit cards.
Right?
Black men got the right to vote before women did. We cannot go back. And that's exactly what Trump wants to do with two of his major mottos coming directly from the Crusades. And I don't mean that like from like the Christian Crusades. The Crusades was a Triple K newsletter. And Make America Great Again and America First were both mottos that came directly from that camp. We cannot go back to that type of oppression in society. We can't do it. We must not.
And we can't make America great again until we make America great. It's never been great. So let's make it great first, okay? Because it has not been great for a lot of people. And I just want to point out to all of Doug's fans out there that a vote for Harris is a vote for the first man to be named Doug. Remember, her husband's name is Doug. So win Doug on many levels there, okay? We would have a first man whose name was Doug, and that's pretty awesome, I think. But yeah. I love you guys all. I'm going to go ahead and end it here and go watch some of you live and maybe jump on some of your panels this morning. I will be going live. I'm trying to do it regularly on Tuesday and Thursday mornings about the same time now. And Wednesday, of course, is Bible study, Genesis chapter 11. But before we leave, y'all know what I like to do before we leave. We're going to get some final thoughts and let everybody have a moment to promote themselves on what they're doing this week. So Melanie, can you give me any of your final thoughts today? And if there's anything you'd like to promote, let us know.
Well, I will probably be going live maybe this weekend talking about, politics and religion. I definitely know more about politics than I do religion. So I will try to do a live this week since I'm no longer banned or bananaed. And if you don't follow Cece, follow Cece. If you want to join her Discord, it's $5 at $5.95 a month, I believe. And all that money goes to an organization called WAR, which is women. I forget the acronym, but it goes for healthcare for women. So that means diapers, formula, women's healthcare of any kind. So Or she will also take cash donations through Cash App and Venmo.
That's awesome. All right. Well, if you are not following the people on the panel, please follow everybody up here. I only hang out with the most amazing people, in case you haven't noticed that yet. Tracy, what have you got for us? Any final thoughts? And would you like to promote your lives? Do you have a schedule yet?
I do not have a schedule yet, as most of the time I am still too afraid to press go live. But I will be on the next time I am brave enough to be on, which I hope is in the next day or so.
Okay, I hope so, because I'm telling you, I'm going to teach you.
I'm so
I'm teach you my
excited.
tricks of the trade here. Tracy is amazing support, and we're trying to get her out of her shell to go live more often. Her lives are fun, they're educational, they're uplifting, and she's just an amazing musician. Again, if you are not in our Discord, send me a DM. I'll be happy to send you a link, or check Benny's bio. He has a link that works in his bio. I think I have one that doesn't work in my bio, but
you gotta like copy and paste it into a browser. I think that's where the problems come.
Oh, okay. Tracy is in our Seth's Art, Crafts and Music Corner with her music, and you have to go check that out because she's amazing. Dr. Joe, any final thoughts today, and would you like to promote yourself?
What an amazing conversation and community. And this was a terrific idea. So my content actually isn't directly related to this. It's on addiction, mental health, and substance use disorder. But if you want to go to my YouTube, subscribe, and just let my videos scroll while you do your life, that would be awesome. I am preparing to launch a course later this fall on called Sober in the C-Suite for professionals and executives who don't believe they belong at the local AA meeting, but want to manage their drinking or substance use. And so that's what I'm up to. And if you are able to help with my other stuff, that is, so even just good juju would be fine. That would be super helpful.
Dr. Joe, we appreciate you so much. You help so many people in the community. Dr. Joe is a recovery specialist, and I'm glad that she's here because I am not recovering from any addictions or anything, but I've had so many people in my life that I love who have had to deal with addiction, and I think that it's a community that is often demonized without people really understanding the causes of it and the battle to get past it and get over it. And people like Dr. Joe are so important for that community. Deborah Grace.
Wait, I want to add one
Dr.
thing
Joe.
before. Yeah. So within the treatment industry, I think it's important for you guys to know that I don't promote or exclusively support 12-step or any higher power-based recovery peer support. I get a lot of hate in the background for that, by the way, but
I love you for that.
But just I am what's known as equifinality. There are multiple pathways to a healthy sobriety, and so that's one of my foundational premises.
If that doesn't make me love you more, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not familiar with addiction and what people go through, for me personally, I am not fond of the 12-step program, although I know it helps people. And if it helps you, I'm really glad and I'm very happy it helped you. Everybody has to find their own way to sobriety and to recover. But it has a very high recidivism rate, and I do not believe that you need a higher power in order to be able to conquer these things. And it stresses it. Plus, I can't even explain to you how much money the Scientology community makes from it, and other religious organizations make from court-mandated 12-step programs. But it's a sore spot with me personally. So I'm really glad that there's other options for people out there like Dr. Joe.
Thank you.
Dr. Joe, I would like to connect with you if I could for about 10 minutes, if that's okay, whether that's in Discord or a phone call. I have a project and I would love your feedback on it. That if we could, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. Let's set that up.
Ooh, I love it when people network.
Me too. My heart just did like a little happy dance. I'm such a nerd. Okay, Deborah, your final thoughts, and listen, if you have time this week sometime, DM me and let me know what's a good time for us to do the book club interview, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Most days it's going to be after 5 o'clock on, Monday through Friday, and the weekends I'm free. So whenever's good for you outside of that would be great.
Hey, do you want to do it next Saturday at around this time?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a confirmation thing on it to make sure the time works for you, and then I'll make a video and we'll get that out there. That would be perfect for me.
Sweet. Okay.
Oh wait, maybe I just lied. Okay, maybe I'll have to do afternoon on Wednesday, because I just realized I'm flying out to New York next week to take care of the grandbaby, and I think I fly out Saturday. But I'll let you know for sure. I'll DM you.
Okay. I want to promote Myth Vision podcast. This is a channel on YouTube. I had a book interview just under 3 years ago on Myth Vision podcast, where Derek Lambert had 43,000 followers on that channel. He now has over 250,000 subscribers. And the content on that channel is absolutely mind-blowing. So if people are looking for academic level feedback on the religious texts, specifically the Bible, but he does touch on some other things too. He has PhD after PhD after PhD after PhD, and then he interviews other creators, whether that's people who have their own channels, whether those are authors who dissect the scriptures through different lenses, people who utilize different mediums to do that. That channel is like top tier. And if you're looking for meat, that's the channel to go to. But I also want to just say, my book is available on Amazon. I have another book coming out at the end of this year, and I'm going to go live again 2 or 3 times this week, this coming week. Probably today, maybe again tomorrow, and then somewhere in the middle of the week I'll be going live in the evening. I'm trying to go live more often. Tracy, I get it. I get the fear of going live. It's not as scary as you think, but yes, there are some of us who are introverts who it's not our comfort zone. But when we get out of that comfort zone, beautiful things happen. And so don't worry about it and don't force yourself either, because we know our gut tells us there's something that happens there. I'm not going to say it's a metaphysical thing, but when we just push that button and go, when the time is right, it's going to be beautiful. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. So I'm following you, Tracy. I can't wait to see what you bring to the table, because every single person has a beautiful perspective, and everything that we're all bringing together collectively is painting this masterpiece of beautiful logic. It is its own Fibonacci sequence. We are bringing together a wonderful, collective, loving community, and I am so proud to be part of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Benny boy.
Crystal, that was beautifully put, Deborah. I love the way that you just worded that. I loved that so much. I've been loving a lot of things lately. You know, I just love everything that everybody's been contributing and doing, like with the Discord, with supporting each other, being in the chats. And I just want to say, I got a little homework for everybody this week. If you're willing, just go to a different person's live that you don't normally go to. And just sit in their chat, probably somebody within our community. Let's make it at least so we're supporting each other. And yeah, try and boost them up. Give them some likes. If you can, give them some gifts. Share it out. And just keep supporting each other. I think that that's the way we get this like love out to everybody else. And it's, I don't know. I just think that what we've already been able to accomplish has been so much, and we can just keep doing that. And yeah, that's really all I have to say.
Absolutely. And again, you guys need to join Benny's Discord. It's the Deconstruction Discord, and there's a lot going on there, and so much to learn, and so many people involved. He has set up a very beautiful, safe place. And let me express to you that we don't do drama in that Discord. If you bring drama to the Discord, we're going to ask you to leave not leave the Discord, take the drama out with you. You know, you can stay in the Discord, just don't bring it in, okay? If you have a problem with somebody in the Discord, you're all adults. Go handle it yourself. We don't need the drama in there. This is not a place for that. It's a place to support each other. It's a place to share information. It's a place to come and get help if you need it. But it's a safe place, and we intend to keep it that way. But you definitely should be joining it, because we can fake fight on Discord. Yeah. And in Joel's live, that's a great place to fake fight too.
I have a question about Discord, because I have had a channel. I have a channel. I have a Discord channel that I've had for the past 5 years, maybe 5.5 years now. And my question, though, on that is, how do you turn the alerts on just for messages within the instant message, but turn off all of the other ones?
You might have to go.
Have they fixed that yet?
You might have to go into each like one that you're signed up to. You just long press it, and then you can turn off like each ones, or you can kind of specify like if it's only at me or if it's to everybody. You can even go deeper to where it's only just if they tag just you. But I don't know if there's a way to do it like for everything, like on a main menu.
Well, I just turned off all Discord notifications from my phone's setting, and so I never go in there anymore. I'm part of a few channels in there, mostly those from like 3 and 4 years ago when I was more active in that. But I realize now that this community is using Discord more, and it would be nice to be a part of that, but I don't need an alert popping up on my phone every 5 seconds.
I just recently realized how much our Discord was like pushing out to everyone. So I took off the feature to where, because it was alerting everyone every time a post was put up. And that was like with Joel. With Joel, he puts up like 3 or 4 at a time. So,
yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Your phone is blowing up, and so now I just do it for whenever people go live. Certain people go live. If they ask me if they want to, or I'll offer, like, hey, I'll put your name up. I pay like $10 a month, because TikTok doesn't always push out everybody's lives. It doesn't alert everybody, so it's a way to do that for them. To kind of sidestep TikTok's alerting and algorithm cheating that it's trying to do, and allow people to see who's live from the Discord. And yeah, I get what you're saying, and the Discord can do so much, but it's a lot of noise. It's a lot that comes out of it, and a lot of notifications. It does take a little, if you have to just silence the whole app and then maybe go in when you have time and just silence each server and you just long press the picture on the left side, and you can like kind of get more specific into what you want from that server.
Okay.
And
all right, awesome.
That would be what I would suggest.
Okay,
You guys,
that sounds
you
good.
guys want to know my secret to life? Here's my secret to life. I don't know if it would work for anybody else. This is just what works for me. My husband kind of hates it, not gonna lie, but my phone is all notifications are turned off, and my do not disturb is always on, because I would go crazy with TikTok, Discord, family chat. Freaking, it would drive my little ADHD brain absolutely crazy hearing those notifications all day. So what I
Right.
do is just check each of the things that are important to me at certain intervals throughout the day. And my husband hates it because he knows that I might not see his message right away if he messages me, but I check my messages pretty regularly. So I get back with him within minutes. But he's also like, I hate it that you're always on Do Not Disturb.
How did we ever survive? How did we ever survive before cell phones, you know?
Right?
Oh,
Right?
we had AOL chat. Don't you remember?
MSN Messenger, away messages.
Deborah, you have
mail.
to say, I wanted to hear you say that. Thank you. She does the best voices. I love her so much.
Conversation with my sister this last weekend about, she's older than I am, so she's going to be 70, and we were talking about how did we get information. You know, for example, when I got sober, it was 1991, and the only gig that I knew of was AA, right? But Women for Sobriety existed, but how would I have known that? Like, where did we
Yeah.
get information? And I've been alive this whole time, you know, before internet, after internet, and
Yeah.
I don't remember how we knew stuff.
Don't you
Poster
remember
board?
like the card catalog?
Yeah,
Come
Rolodex.
on.
Rolodexes were a
Dr.
big thing.
Joe, I'm maybe around the same age as you. I'm 48, and I remember life before pagers.
Mm-hmm.
I remember getting my first pager. I remember my son, when I was pregnant with my son, I had a pager. So, I mean, this is how long ago this was for me. But yeah, when email was first coming about, having my first email address was amazing, and the different options that were available even back then for email addresses. My first email address that's no longer active, so I don't mind saying that here, but it was forinnocence@cheerful.com.
Wow.
You guys,
My first one was a derivative of God, wife, mom, me.
Yeah.
Right. Just
I'm gonna tell you all my email address right now, because it is so bogged down with shit that it doesn't even matter if anybody hears it, because people use it all the time because they literally think it's their email address. But when Gmail first started, you know, it was really cool if you got a cool name on Gmail, because you remember you used to have to get invited to Gmail. You couldn't just sign up for it.
yes.
Yeah.
So my first Gmail account, I still have it, and it's mylaptop@gmail.com, and everybody loves that, and they all wish it was theirs. So they constantly like think that it is theirs. I get so many people's email to that email address that at this point I don't really use it very much anymore. I use it
You
for
probably make
junk.
some money on that. You could sell
Right?
that.
Oh my god! Right? It's such
You
a great
could.
email address. But yeah, so that's my email. If y'all want to email me,
That is
I
so
don't check
funny.
it a lot. No, I check it every once in a while to make sure I'm not getting real email there, because I have other Gmail accounts now.
Right.
Yeah, same. Well, I'm
Well,
going to
you
go ahead
guys-
and drop down.
I'm going to say goodbye anyway. I want to thank you all for being here today. You guys did my heart good. I love this community. Keep going out there, fighting the good fight, doing all the wonderful things you're doing. You are changing lives. You are changing lives for the better every single day. What you do is important. You are important, and you are loved. And I want to thank all of you for everything you do every day. Have a great day, y'all.
All worth it. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.